So now we come to perform integrated change control. As I mentioned a few slides ago, the single biggest risk to virtually every project is scope creep, um, allowing the project to get bigger and bigger and bigger, which inherently the more work you add to a project, the longer it takes to get done. The longer it takes to get done, the more resources it consumes, hence it gets more expensive. Scope creep is something that you really want to try to avoid. Well, one good way of avoiding scope creep is to perform integrated change control. Have a formal mechanism in place for requiring project team members, sponsors, customers, whoever it might be, to put in a formal request to have a change made to the project plan, having those changes systematically reviewed and acted upon. If the change is denied, then it doesn't become a part of the project plan. Nothing happens. That is not going to become part of the project work. If it is approved, then the additional responsibilities are to take these change requests, go back, have someone with the authority to make changes to the project plan, integrate those changes into the project plan, and then move forward accordingly, now monitoring those changes as though they were part of the original project, because now they are a part of the project work. And that's really what you see with all these bullet points in front of you, is it's coming up with some way of classifying the changes that come in. Is a particular change absolutely vital to the to the success of the project? Or is a change just something that some new added feature that somebody wants to do? I'm going to take a second here to tell you a story about why it's good to have integrated change control, because I used to work for a consulting company, and we had a very small project that we needed done. We had a relational database system that was actually, at that point in time, it was developed in Lotus Approach. We hired a developer to replicate our database in Approach to migrate it over to Microsoft Access. So that was the scope of the project. However, we never put it in writing. We were not as clear and formal about it as we should have been. And I was the main point of contact with this developer that we were working with. And as it goes, this is a project that was relatively small in scope. Well, in comes one of our managing partners, Joe. Joe is a big thinker. He's great on concepts. Every time we would get him on the phone, where it would be me as the operations manager for the company, the developer that we had hired to do the migration, and then Joe on the phone to just review the work that had been done so far, Joe, you could just hear his wheels turning on the phone, and he'd be like, hey, now that I'm thinking about this, you know what would be great for us to add to this? What if we created this new report, and that report had a graph on it that would give us a pie chart that would show us, X, Y, and Z? And yeah, nobody was arguing that would have been a great thing to have, but there came a point where both I, as, a subordinate who didn't feel comfortable contradicting Joe, and the developer, who was a contract worker, neither one of us felt so comfortable with saying, you know what, Joe, yes, that is a great idea. It would be great if we could add that report and have a pie chart, and if we could integrate all these other things that you suggested. But you know what? That's beyond the scope of this project. The scope of this project was that we were doing a database replication. We were taking exactly what we had in one platform and migrating it to another platform. The ideas that you have are fabulous, but we're going to focus on the replication first, and then perhaps at a later date we can go back and revisit, perhaps commission another project to do all the additional enhancements that you want. We didn't have integrated change control, and it made my life and the developer's life pretty miserable. So I can attest firsthand to how important this particular process is.